Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it happens to be when you're finally getting around to watching this version of the Luxury Travelers Podcast. We have with us today someone that I think is going to be very much interest to you, just simply from the industry, the part of the industry he comes from. An important aspect of luxury travel is getting to the destination on time and getting there in the style that you want to get there in. And one of the things that we've run into since COVID is it's getting it's a very tenuous part of the whole program. So today I asked Daniel Santiago, who's with Regal Wings, which is an air consolidation organization, to join us. So welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thanks for having me, Rodney. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Well, Regal Wings does primarily business first and premium economy flights on an international basis, which is a huge part of what we do. If you would, and I've tried to explain to clients before what exactly is an air consolidator. Well, why don't you tell them from your perspective, because your perspective, that's 100% of what you do. So tell us a little bit about air consolidation and how that works to benefit the client.
Well, consolidators are quote unquote a middleman between the airlines and the travel industry. There are obviously several different types of wholesalers out there. You have the airfare side, you have the hotel side with bed banks. So we're part on the air side, and we basically just help travel advisors and travel companies to get airfare for the clients easier and with a more convenient price, if you call it. Obviously, that all depends on the airlines. We don't control airfare whatsoever. We basically are just a middleman that is selling to other parts of the industry. Our company started as a travel management company, as a TMC, about 20 years ago. We did a lot of companies in the New York area. And then from there, it kind of went a different way than I think my boss would have wanted to. He stopped doing the travel management company or operations and started just really focusing on bringing airfare to different companies. So basically just using our contracts to get airfare at a lower price for our clientele. Obviously, pre-pandemic, our business was very, very good. I want to say we used to have a lot of net or negotiated rates where we can actually get airfare lower than published price. I want to say our biggest call to fame was that we used to get up to 60% of the published price, which would then be sold to, again, travel advisors, travel companies, anybody that really wanted to just book it for the clients.
Yeah, those were, quote, the good old days.
The good old days. Yes. And again, it's something that we can control, but yes, I feel like right now a lot of the consumers are losing because a lot of the airlines are very stingent about giving discounts and putting discounts out there. And things are changing a lot in the industry. So,
yeah, your job's much more difficult now than it was pre-COVID, I would guess. I
and
know
with less profit margin, for sure.
Yeah. And the clients are paying more for their airfare, but still, in most cases, less than published rates. In, I would say, probably 75% of the quotes we get back from you guys are at or below the published price. So the savings to the client is not as huge as it used to be, but it's still there.
No, exactly. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why we keep doing this, because I know clients are still out there and they are interested. And I feel like the travel industry should have an opportunity to also bring discounts to their clients. So I think it's an important step of working with a travel agent is helping you guys really bring those good prices to your clients.
From your perspective, I mean, I have my own opinions and I express them on a regular basis to my clients, but what is the state of the airline industry today?
Well, right now it's very difficult. I know you guys have been hearing a lot of different news. I know just today, I think we got the DOT's new rule on airline refunds, which is going to be changing the industry a lot. But the industry is in a state of disarray because there's a couple of things happening. Obviously, pricing is getting higher and higher. We see tickets, at least in my market, which were before $3,000, $3,500. Now they started the $4,000 or $5,000 benchmark. So you do have a lot of more of the premium cabin airfare being significantly a bit more expensive, but the service is still not up to par to those prices. We still have a lot of cancellations in the airlines. There's a lot of, miscommunications, lost luggage. There's a lot of service gaps that I think the airlines are not addressing or they really don't want to address. And then, of course, you still have all these new rules that the Department of Transportation is trying to really kind of, I don't want to say control a little bit more of the process of selling airfare, but they do want to give the consumer a bit of a leg up on things that, are out of their control, meaning the cancellations, the lates, the overbookings that a lot of the airlines do. So there's a very, very, I feel we're in an inflection point between the consumer and the airline industry where I feel a lot of changes are going to benefit the consumer, but I don't know if the airlines are going to punish us with pricing. So it's a very tumultuous moment right now for the industry.
Yeah, it truly is because I mean when you look at taking a 10-day, 2-week European cruise and the cost of the cruise is, let's just say, $5,000-$6,000 a person, and then we go to book the business class air and it's the same 5 or 6 that, so it costs as much for that 6 hours to get across the pond as it does for 10 to 14 days on a cruise ship, and that includes all your meals and your booze and everything. So it's really, if you look at it from that point of view, the airline industry, it's hard for me to believe they're not profitable.
Oh no, of course, and more airlines are actually feeding new, premium cabin air into their the roster. So American Airlines is one company that is, downgrading the economy seats to put more comfort plus or comfort economy and then more business class as well. So they know that even if it's still going to be expensive, people are still willing to pay for it. But I feel as a consumers are definitely getting the short end of the stick right here on the air side.
Yeah, I don't know if you've even had a chance to read the new refund regulations that came out this morning or not. I have not read them yet, but evidently the government is here to help us yet again.
Yeah, no, and that's something that we as a company have to start also addressing with our clients, because at the end of the day, being a wholesaler, being a consolidator, we are third-party provider of the airfare. So the refunds, even though they're going to be coming through the airline directly, of course, it's something that we have to still address with how we're going to manage that with our clientele.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great step. I think there's a lot of things happening that I feel like we as a consumer, we can definitely push, our legislators. I know the ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors, is always on the lookout on all these regulations, and they're all lobbying in Washington to really kind of make the consumer voice a strong one.
As it should be, because without the consumer wanting to fly in those nicer, roomier, upgraded categories, the airline industry would not be doing nearly as well.
That's true.
Why do you think it is that more and more travelers are opting to travel in the premium cabins for their international trips?
Well, I think it comes from several different things. Obviously, we know that after the pandemic, there was an amazingly huge travel boom. Not only on the amount of people, but also on the amount of money that people want to spend on travel. There's a lot of people taking longer trips. They're booking way far in advance. You probably know that because you do a lot of cruises. I have people now looking for 2026, and they are looking at a farther date, which is always great. So obviously capacity was not at the moment the best capacity. So you still have clients that are willing to pay it. They, spend 2-3 years, under the COVID lockdown. So they did have
Right.
more money to spend on the first and business class airfare. They also are taking longer trips. We all know how economy seats are shrinking and shrinking, and the spaces are getting more and more difficult. So I feel like a lot of people are willing to splurge. They are willing to spend money, not only to go on a comfortable seat, because of course we've seen all those beautiful cabins. Most cabins right now on the business class side either have doors or have a private space. So people like their privacy. A lot of people also used it, obviously, after the pandemic because of the COVID scare. People wanted to be not that close to other people, so they opted to go on the premium cabin. And again, once you go to premium and business, it's difficult to go back to economy. Plus, you also do have the enhanced benefits of flying business class. You have business class lounges. You have the enhanced services. If you're a first class flyer, they'll even pick you up at your house and bring you to the airport. So there's a lot of different perks and benefits that a lot of clients do take into consideration when they're going on a business class seat. Obviously, I always say a luxury trip starts with a business class airfare. Getting to a place, it's as important as what place you pick to be on. So I feel like it really sets the mood to go on a business class seat to your vacation. It really starts helping your mood. Once you're starting to get into your flight, have that glass of wine or have the glass of champagne, sit down, see the menu. It really does change your outlook as to how your vacation is going to be. So I feel like a lot of people are looking at vacations as starting once they get into the plane, right to the end, and they get back home. And I feel business class seats and premium cabin airfare does make that happen to your clients.
Yeah, it's kind of like I worked for it, I earned it, I deserve it, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, more people are willing to splurge and they want to do it. And also there's a lot of more offers out there. So,
Daniel, do you think that, the airline industry's kind of got a block at 330 days prior to the last leg of your flight? Is that the best time to book as soon as those fares are available, or is it better to wait a few months into it, or even, most of the time, last minute, it means you're going to pay a lot more. But where's that window make the most sense from where you sit?
Well, there is no perfect window. I feel like I always say the perfect time it is when your client can actually pay for it. So if you 11 months out, you look at the ticket and your client's like, you know what, this price works for me, then I would say book it. Normally, I want to say the plateau where you see a lot of the prices going down is normally between 4 and 6 months prior to travel time. So that is kind of the sweet spot for you to kind of start looking for airfare if you haven't booked it already. I want to say 4 to 6 months is always a good, but if your client can pay it when the first time you research it, book it. Really book it, because there is no certain, aspect of me telling you, oh, this is going to go down, this is going to go up. It depends on the market. It depends on a lot of different variables on the airline industry. It depends on fuel prices. It depends on availability of seats. It depends on new routing. It depends on a lot of different things. So there is no perfect equation to when they should book the airfare.
Well, you kind of confirmed it to me, though, and we always tell our clients, my professional opinion is you should book it as soon as possible, because it's probably not going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does and you bought a refundable ticket, then we can talk about that at a later date. Same thing with the other elements of travel that we work with, whether it's cruises or land travel or whatever. Fortunately, on a cruise, we can often rebook if the prices go down. But
Exactly.
In this environment where our booking window during COVID shrank down to less than 30 days, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's back out to almost 18 months. People are booking that far in advance. And with a cruise, if the price goes down, we can rebook it typically. But again, there's so much pent-up demand for travel that we're not seeing those prices decline. As a matter of fact, we're actually seeing them work against the consumer, so it pays to get that booking done early.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you that are booking right now 18 months out, and I know you probably are getting asked about 2026. I would always say, you know what, we can check airfare when the airfare comes out, 11 months out. If you're okay with the pricing that is then, shown to you and you can pay it, then we can book it there. If not, you can tell them our sweet spot is 4 to 6 months. If you want to check, a couple months afterwards, then, be my guest. I've always tell clients as well to always keep, those little flight alarms. You have Google Flight has an alarm, as
Right.
well as Hopper. Those companies really help you to determine if the price is going to go down or not. Once you already booked the land portion or the cruise portion, then you can also play with the time frame. But you always can let your client know, those are great things, but at the end of the day, is what works for you. The itinerary might be inexpensive in some airlines, but then when you go and book it, it could be a little more expensive. So it all depends.
One of the things that our clients are concerned with, but even if they haven't traveled recently, is they've seen it on the news, and that is, flights canceled, flights delayed. What do I do? And fortunately, with Regal Wings, you guys have an answer for those clients that are out there and feel like they're stranded, I guess.
Yeah, so we basically are, I don't like to call ourselves a consolidator, even though we are. We're more of a concierge air service for travel advisors like yourself that want to book airfare. But that concierge service also extends to the actual traveler, because we do have a 24/7 in-travel emergency service. That means if your clients get stranded, they get canceled, flight is canceled, or if they're not going to make their connection and they're going to miss either the first day of the cruise or something happens, then we can go in and help them out. We do have a human reservations team. And
Real human beings, yes.
Yeah, real human beings that would actually help you out. So instead of your clients or any travel agent's clients dealing with the airline directly, they can deal with us, which would be faster and obviously nicer than the airlines.
Well, that was beautiful. I had a couple of clients just in the last month that were stranded, and your people just jumped in, rolled their sleeves up, and found a workaround.
And that's what we're
When
here for. And again, it's a concierge level. I feel like now a lot of travelers are willing to pay a little bit more, but they really want a little bit more of the service. And I feel
Right.
like Regal Wings as a partner for travel agents is that enhanced service that clients are going to receive.
What do you guys do, if anything, from your perspective, to enhance the traveler's experience in flying?
Well, apart from obviously having the 24/7 emergency service, like I said, we are always looking out for the best deals for your clients. Being human, we're not an engine, we're not an algorithm. So we always try to give you guys the best pricing out there, which is obviously great. There are perks apart from the 24/7 emergency service is that we always also deal with the cancellations and refunds. That's very important. If clients end up canceling a flight and they need a refund, those things can be done through us. Again, pending on the new rules for the DOT. They came out today. Those things are going to be different. But obviously, cancellations that are done pre-travel, something happens, we can definitely work on those. Those new rules are for cancellations that happen during travel, which, again, those things we will address later on once we read the DOT. But the idea is that we are the one-stop shop for your travel agents to basically deal with the air instead of dealing with the airline. So I feel clients also get a better response and a quicker response when agents work with us.
That's a real key point. Hold times with Regal Wings are very minimal. Hold times at the airlines sometimes can be several hours.
Hours, yep. And that's only
And
to get rebooked, or even if it's for a cancellation, sometimes you have to wait. Because the tickets are in our system, it's quicker for us to just cancel it, send you back the information, and that's done. If it's a refundable ticket, those are either refunded back to what your client's account, and or if they have any loyalty points as well. So all those things we can do because it's part of our system. And that's
Yeah,
another big thing. Always try to go for refundable airfare. That's one thing that I always tell clients. If you can do refundable, please do refundable. That's one of the keys that a lot of people don't understand, that prices can be lower, but if it's not refundable airfare, you lose a lot of the benefits in cancellations and refunds.
yeah, and the one thing that's so hard to do if you have a non-cancelable airfare, you can of course cancel it, but now you've got to keep up with that record locator number, and you've got a limited window. Usually it's 12 months from the
12
date of
months to use
purchase.
the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those
And
things are very, that's why I always say, always be aware of what is, what perks you get with refundable tickets that you don't get with the non-refundable airfare.
right.
Because pricing can be enticing, but if something happens, then you're left with a year to use the window. Sometimes tickets are super expensive. You have to use them, all the credits, you have to use them by 12 months. So sometimes you can't use them. I've had clients that have forgotten that they have credit. And then they come to us and they're like, oh my God, I forgot I had the credit. I have to use it. And those things are not extendable with some of the airlines. They really
Right.
are, once you have, that's a date, that's a date. So those are very important things for people to keep tabs on. And we, as a company, that's what we do. We have a travel agent that has a client that refunded or canceled. We always send an email, say, hey, you know what? You still have this credit. Please make sure, that you are going to use all that money. So we always keep tabs with the agents as well so they can communicate with their clients.
Yeah, it's really important, and I think you may have, especially in today's environment, I think the cancelable airfares are more important than ever, just because of, I mean, life is iffy, and people change
Things
their
happen.
mind
Just
about
things
this or that.
happen. Things
It's
happen.
just
I've been to flights that sometimes, there's a delay that causes another delay and your captain's not going to be here. Like there's things that you can't control on the air industry that I feel clients can still be sheltered from some of the things if they do get refundable air.
Now we got about 5 minutes left here. Uh, what are you guys doing in the area of private jet charters?
So yeah, so we are, apart from being a consolidator, we extended to doing private jets after the pandemic as well. We used to have it before the pandemic, but it kind of grew a little bit more after the pandemic as a lot of the clients were, traveling either
Right.
domestically and they wanted to do private jets. So we actually do help book private jets for travel advisors. We are an broker, so that means we work with operators all over the world. That means if you want to, if your client wants to travel, from Florida to the Caribbean, or they want to do something in Mexico. I'm actually doing one for a family, a pretty high-end family that wants to go from Boston to Cape Town, and they want an all lay flat beds, 11 people, and it's about a $800,000 private charter. So those are things that we can help with. We actually just quoted as well somebody on a church group that is 200 people, which is an actual airliner,
Right.
regular airliner to go from Florida to Texas. So we could do any type of aircraft from turboprops, small flights, all the way to the ultra long range jet. Private jets is great for, groups, families. If you're a sports traveler, if you want to go golfing and you want to bring your own golf clubs, if you got to go skiing and you want to bring your own skis, it's a great option to do a private jet. Obviously, sports events. We were just talking about the World Series.
World
If you want to go
Series,
to the
yeah.
World Series in style and go up from Florida to New York and cheer on the Yankees, you can do it as well. So there's a lot of different markets that private jets really work out for a lot of people.
Well, just not to date this too much, but the Yankees don't win tonight, they won't be flying anywhere for a while.
I know, right? They're gonna be dead and kaput. But I hope today goes well for them because 3 in a row, it's not good.
No, and it's really, really hard to come back from a 3-game deficit. But nonetheless, anything else you'd like to tell us about Regal Wings in closing? Because we've got a couple of minutes here. If you got anything else that you want to throw in.
Well, guys, I would say just, like you said, if you have the money to start doing premium cabin airfare, I would highly recommend for you guys to start doing it. As a luxury traveler, enjoying those perks and those benefits of the business class lounge, the enhanced boarding process, as well as the amazing seats, menus, the wine, all those amazing perks are very, very amazing to have if you are going to start your vacation on a trip. Again, a lot of people are definitely looking at premium cabin as a way for them to really kind of set a tone to their vacation. So
Right.
no better tone than being in a business class seat for a while. Apart from that, again, we are here to help your travel agent. Always book with a travel agent. I feel travel agents really are superheroes in the travel industry. They've survived so many different things, including the .com bubble as well as COVID. So travel advisors are always our best partners, and I feel travel agents really do get kind of make the industry go better and go higher. So I'm very, very happy to work with them.
Well, Daniel, we appreciate the insight that you've been able to share with us today. It is a bit of a confusing world out there now in air travel, and it's great to have an advocate on your side when things don't go as planned when you're flying somewhere around the world. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing. And folks, remember, enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's later than you think.
It is.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.